Brett Shuford. Welcome to another episode of Broadway Life, where we teach you how to get a Broadway life. Today's guest is Katrina Lake from The Band's Visit. And Katrina, tell them what you do in The Band's Visit.
I play Dina, who's kind of like the mayor of the town, but she's not. She just runs like the local cafe because it's this tiny town in Israel.
Stick a pin in the map of the desert. Build a road to the middle of the desert. Pour cement on the spot in the desert. That's Beit HaTikva. Welcome to nowhere.
And I sing some songs and tell some jokes. That kind of stuff.
General, you can stay here with us tonight if you want to.
No. You have done too much already.
Okay.
One of the interesting things to me is that we met when I was coaching. You weren't sure what was next. You weren't sure where your career was headed. And I think what would be really interesting to explore how that turned around for you.
I mean, I don't want to jinx it by saying that it's
Yeah.
like turned around necessarily, but I think taking some of the tools that we talked about in coaching and applying them in life, particularly the one epiphany, which was it shouldn't have been an epiphany, but it was that, oh my God, everyone's just people. Like the casting director is just a person, they're a person, so please be a person yourself and treat them as a person. And for some reason I never really thought about it like that, just mostly as there's someone in my way of getting what I want. Like I have to please this person, they have the keys to the wherever I want to go, and I'm just thinking of them as people. Just this little light bulb turned on in my head that hadn't before. And then I guess taking responsibility and taking action for things that you need to work on, I guess, was another thing that I started doing because of working with you. And what scared me the most in musical auditions was singing in front of people in a tiny room where you're not in control of the space. You don't know how is the accompanist going to play, what sort of moods are they in. Like the anxiety that was so overwhelming, and I was like, okay, well, how can we fix this? So I got this group of people together, and we rented a room at Ripley Greer or at Pearl Studios, wherever those awful auditions are where you want to drive yourself nuts. And we got together, we found a friend to play the piano, and we just went in a room and sang audition songs for each other, and that just like taking ownership of the experience of auditioning in a way that I hadn't done before, I think really helped and opened my mind up to not being such a nervous wreck at those things. I think that helped a lot. So like all these little shifts that maybe made it so that I was more available when the roles came around. I guess the coincidences sort of lined up.
How do you think, or do you think that led to you doing The Band's Visit? Because you did it at Atlantic too, right?
Yeah.
What kind of led you to that show?
I don't know. I think all just coincidences. I don't know, like just the coincidence that they're working on the show that has a character in it that I had kind of already been sort of sticking my toe in now and again in like auditions for other stuff, and so I don't know, it was just like coincidences.
And the living room becomes a garden, and the TV set becomes a fountain, and the music flows in the garden, and everything grows.
What do you think is different about originating a role versus replacing somebody?
I mean, they each have their separate terrifying things. And I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to know what it is to be someone who replaces someone, because you learn so much. And the thing, number one, you learn is there are so many amazingly talented people. And there's so many, like you think, I'm the only one that can do that, and that's so not true. There's so many people that can do the thing you can do, which is humbling and also really great. Like it's a weird sort of relief. I don't know. It's it just, you respect your fellow actors way more, I think. So when you replace, you get a little bit of rehearsal, and then you're just thrown in, and you don't get to, of course, that development time that everyone else in the show has gotten. That's really terrifying. And to trust that they hired you and you did the work, and even though you feel you're completely unprepared when you go on, that's they trust you, the people that hired you, so go on and do your best, and then there's room to improve. But wherever you're starting at is good. And then, when you're originating a role, you get all that wonderful time in the rehearsal room and more of a sense of ownership, I guess, of the role, which is also terrifying because if it's, it's a lot of it feels like it's your responsibility. You get a definite sense of where you are in relation to everyone else, and you feel the sense of community in a way that you don't feel, I think, if it's all just competition. Because when you replace also, there's someone that's just been in there before you, and it's in everyone's best interest if you're welcomed into the world of the show, and so it definitely feels like a community.
I've replaced in the musical, and it is a humbling experience.
Yes, yeah.
Because and I think if you do it politely, you respect that this is a family unit that's been together for a long time, who's kind of losing a family member to an extent. So you want to come in and be strong for them.
Right.
So how do you manage your life outside of the show? Like, what is your number one priority in order to save up your stamina and get through 8 shows a week? What do you do? You said yoga and meditation.
Yoga, and this is something I'm still wrestling with, because when you're in the show and there's just rehearsals, and then there's rehearsals and tech, and then it's previews and rehearsals. So to have a free day still feels like, what? Should I be somewhere? Should I be doing something? What's going on? So I haven't quite figured out how to make the most of the time when I'm not at the theater yet. That's my little challenge right now.
And you're probably doing a lot of press.
There's press
and
stuff.
And you got Tony stuff coming up.
And we have some put-ins for, because we have so many musicians that are in the show, but they're on stage, so we have to do lots of put-in rehearsals for them, which is wonderful. But then we're just at the theater all the time. So.
Right. How do you manage personalities as an actor when you're in the creation process?
You gotta know when to shut up. I think and that is something I think that's a good rule of thumb. Knowing when to listen to other people, and even if maybe you disagree with their idea, listen through it, because maybe that will spawn a different idea from someone else, and you just never know where anything is going to go. So to say yes to as many things as possible, and be quiet.
I love that. No one just shut up. I think it's amazing that you're willing to do the work. You weren't waiting for somebody to come in and offer you something. You weren't waiting for Tara Rubin to call you back in and maybe you'd have another chance. You went in and you worked on your craft, and you got better at auditioning. You got better at these things. You worked on your mindset. You figured yoga, or meditation, whatever you needed to strengthen who you are as a person. And then that set you up for these things when they happen the way they were supposed to happen.
I guess so. Yeah.
I think that's really remarkable that you are willing to do the work.
I really love to do the work. I get excited about, okay, so you're really bad at that? Well, do you want to work on it? Does it mean enough to you to work on it? Then work on it, because no one does. I mean, things there's natural talent, but then there's also all of the discipline that has to go in to make sure that you can do the thing that you want to do, I guess. How to live your best Broadway life? Oh my God. I guess I need to take a lesson on this too, because I'm still, even though I'm in a Broadway show, we're the group of us in a Broadway show, it's really great. I love everybody in the cast, and it's just a fantastic show, and I love it. I truly love it. And I'm still just thinking of oh, I didn't do that in that show, and I did that one thing, and why I did that, and why can't I? Well, so there's still those same little demons that I think are always around.
Well, you're an artist. You're always wanting to be better. That's what artists are.
And there's a certain amount. I think maybe that's why I love it so much, is because there's something to work on, and there's never a complacency or oh, I'm bored doing this 8 times a week, because there's always oh, maybe next time I can get that little thing right, and maybe next time that little thing.
Okay, we're gonna practice and practice and practice.
I can get it if you just keep practicing on it. Yeah.
Live your best Broadway life.